Every single generation gets sold the exact same lie, right? Go to school, get a safe job, climb the corporate ladder, and eventually you'll be happy. But today, we're breaking the matrix. Welcome to this explainer where we're mapping out exactly how the next generation is escaping that old 9-to-5 grind to buy back their absolute most valuable asset. And spoiler alert, it isn't money, it's time. We aren't talking about skipping your daily coffee or, extreme couponing. We're looking at the exact framework of modern financial sovereignty. Let's dive in.
Before we reveal the new rules of money, we really have to ask ourselves a vital question. Is the traditional 9-to-5 playbook just completely dead? We need to closely examine the narrative we've been sold by the gatekeepers about safe jobs and climbing that ladder. Because, as the source material points out, to fix a system, you first have to understand exactly how it's broken. Okay, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The broken legacy system. 2. Next-gen pillars. 3. The wealth execution plan. 4. The trap of fake wealth. And 5. Generational freedom. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The broken legacy system, or as I like to call it, the 9-to-5 matrix. There is just a stark contrast between the outdated promises we were sold and the brutal economic reality we face today. You've got the old playbook telling you to put 10% in a mutual fund and basically wait until you're 65 to actually start living. Then you have the real truth. Inflation is absolutely eating savings alive. Think about this for a second. 30 years ago, a starter home cost maybe a couple of times an average annual salary. Today? No way. Housing is totally out of reach for millions, and true job security, it literally doesn't exist anymore. We're looking at an economy where a dual-income household struggles just to pay rent in a major city, let alone save for the future.
And what's really fascinating here is the undeniable decoupling of productivity and wages over the last 30 years. For decades, your output has absolutely skyrocketed, but your actual purchasing power, it's completely flatlined. Your parents might have been able to buy a home, raise a family, and take vacations on a single income. But today, the math just doesn't work. The system is fundamentally broken, and working harder in the traditional sense no longer guarantees you get ahead.
Section 2. Next-gen pillars, the new rules.
So traditional wealth relies heavily on linear input, right? You work 1 hour, you earn a set dollar amount. It's a direct one-to-one trade. But next generation wealth relies entirely on asymmetric output. This means 1 hour invested can lead to infinite scalability. For example, you write a piece of software once and 1 million people can download it while you sleep. Wealth is no longer about how hard you physically work. It's about what kind of leverage you own and control. Let's break this down into 4 actionable concepts that form the absolute bedrock of the new playbook. We've got asymmetric leverage, the sovereign mindset, automated hyperinvesting, and digital sovereignty. Notice how absolutely none of these rely on sheer labor or clocking in and out. They rely entirely on structural leverage. So let's unpack the engine behind this.
First up is asymmetric leverage. This takes Naval Ravikant's famous theory and applies it directly to you right now. It's all about moving away from capital-heavy traditional businesses and instead using low-overhead, high-margin digital assets. We're talking about code, like software and AI tools, and content, like building an audience. It's kind of mind-blowing when you realize that with just a standard laptop sitting on your kitchen counter, you can reach the entire world and scale your income globally. No millions in funding needed, no asking a gatekeeper for permission. Now notice how these remaining 3 pillars build a complete holistic system. Pillar 2, the sovereign mindset, means you stop asking, hey, how do I get a raise? And start treating yourself as a business entity, legally protecting your money. Pillar 3 is automated hyperinvesting. We're not just talking about basic index funds here. It's a barbell strategy balancing high-risk, high-reward bets like crypto or startups with rock-solid, cash-flowing assets like real estate. And finally, digital sovereignty. Earning in a strong currency like the US dollar, but living in a low-cost, high-quality environment. Imagine earning in New York dollars, but living comfortably on a beach in Thailand. Geographic arbitrage completely decouples your income from your physical location. It's a total game changer.
All right, moving on to Section 3, the wealth execution plan, theory to reality.
Okay, let's dive into the exact sequence for execution. This is your 4-phase journey from selling services to achieving true freedom. Phase 1, build a cash flow engine. You identify high-income skills, say data analysis or copywriting, and monetize them to create surplus capital. But you can't stop there, because freelance services still trade time for money.
That's why you have to shift to phase 2, build or buy digital assets. You stop selling your hours and start productizing your knowledge into digital real estate like media or software. Once that's humming along, you hit phase 3, the velocity transition, moving that wealth into hard assets. And finally, phase 4 is generational freedom, cementing everything with rock-solid legal frameworks. Phase 3 is where the real magic happens, the velocity transition. 30 to 50% of your business profits absolutely must be aggressively automated and moved out of depreciating fiat currency. You're funneling that capital directly into productive assets, like cash-flowing real estate, equity, or decentralized assets. The core rule here: your wealth should never, ever just sit idle in a standard bank account, losing its purchasing power to inflation. It has to keep moving. It has to keep producing.
Section 4. The Trap of Fake Wealth. Avoiding the Illusion.
We are constantly surrounded by this internet illusion of wealth, aren't we? What you see online, renting a Lamborghini for a 15-second video clip, or buying status symbols just to impress neighbors you don't even like. That is not wealth. That is a high-priced prison. It is the literal definition of lifestyle creep, and it's an expensive, suffocating trap that entirely prevents you from achieving real long-term sovereignty. I want you to really think about this warning. If your expenses scale perfectly with your income, you are still an indentured servant. You just have nicer handcuffs. Wow, hit the nail on the head, right? If you make $10,000 a month, but spend $10,000 a month, you are not free. Why this matters is simple. You must keep your baseline overhead low and buy your freedom first, long before you ever consider buying the flashy toys.
In stark contrast to all that noise and fake wealth, true financial sovereignty is surprisingly quiet. It's an empty calendar. It's waking up at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday and deciding to just travel, or diving into a passion project just for the sheer joy of it. Why? Because your bills are entirely covered by the automated systems and assets you built in the earlier phases. You finally control your time, and that is for sure the ultimate luxury. Section 5. Generational freedom, the ultimate endgame. True generational wealth builds a fortress around your assets. It isn't just a big bank balance, it's about governance. Consider this: 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the second generation. 70%. To prevent that, you have to set up trusts, legal frameworks, and structural safety nets so your wealth survives market crashes and political shifts. And honestly, perhaps most importantly, it's about teaching the next generation exactly how to manage these systems, rather than just handing them a massive pile of cash. So it's pretty clear the rules of money have been completely rewritten, and the pen is firmly in your hands. Will you spend your time complaining about the broken legacy system, or will you take these frameworks and build your own economy? Keep your overhead low, invest aggressively in asymmetric leverage, and buy your freedom. The choice is yours.